All right. Well, welcome in, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hope everyone's having a great day. Our class today is the Bonanza Q&A session using the Glowforge and wood. So today we're focusing on using your Glowforge to cut wood. So if you have questions, please do drop them in the Q&A. I'll be answering them as we move along. I have gathered a lot of questions from some of you prior to the class, so I think we'll hit everything. First of all, let's talk about your Glowforge. So a Glowforge is a laser diode cutter. And what works well, what it does is it has a laser on the inside. So let me open this up. So if anybody doesn't have their Glowforge yet, you're thinking about getting them, you're like, what does it do? It has this laser head and a camera. The camera focuses on the materials that you put in the tray, and then the laser head is directed by the software where to direct its laser. Now, with the Glowforge Aura, which allows you to cut 12 inches wide and as long as you want, because it has these little, let's see if I can move some of my little trinkets here. It has these side doors that open and allow you to put in a piece of material that is longer than 12 inches. So this is one of the differentiating features between the Glowforge Aura and the Glowforge Spark. Now, the Spark is smaller. It's designed just to sit on your desktop, but it doesn't have the side panels that open up and allow you to cut the bigger sizes. Your Glowforge, you use the software. You're going to cut out a piece, if you're going to engrave a piece, if you're going to score something. So those are the three different techniques that you can do on one piece of wood, for example. Now, you can also remove what's called the crumb tray, and that's this metal piece here. So it allows you to go a ½ inch deep. I think maybe it's like 3/4 of an inch is the thickest material that you can engrave or score on. So if you're interested in doing like bread trays, or if you want to do like charcuterie boards or something like that, and you want to engrave somebody's family name on it, then you can remove the tray and go for a thicker piece of wood to do that too. If you are interested in cutting with it, you get this guy back in there. If you're interested in doing some cutting, the thickest recommended depth on your material is 1/4 of an inch. But there are hundreds of different materials that you can actually cut with your Glowforge Aura. You can cut paper and fabric, felt. You can cut heat transfer vinyl, the Caesar heat transfer vinyl. If you look on their website and indicate which ones are compatible with a diode laser, there's lots on there that you can cut. But the wood is, you can cut 1/4 of an inch thick wood. Now, how do you know what wood to cut and how to do your settings and everything like that? So Glowforge has done something super easy, and on their wood materials, I have a bunch behind me here. Let me just grab one. On their wood materials, and any Glowforge material, it's called proof grade. And what that means is Glowforge is saying, we have done all the work for you. We've done all the testing. We know exactly the pressure that you need to cut this with, the speed, and how many lines you need to put into it. So when you put a piece of proof grade wood into your cutter, it automatically scans this QR code and prompts the software to say, okay, this is what we're cutting and this is how it's going to work. Now, how do you communicate between your cutter and your laptop or desktop? It's Wi-Fi compatible. It's Wi-Fi. So when you get it out of the box and set it up, the first thing you do is connect it with Wi-Fi. Once you connect it with Wi-Fi, you can start sending designs over and begin to cut them. So we're going to get to that first. Let's talk a little bit about safety and maintenance. The diode cutter will put off, because it's a laser, it puts off, I it's not chemicals, but it puts off like a smoke. It works like a smoke because you're basically burning into your material. So wood, cardboard, whatever material, plastic you're putting in here, it burns the cuts or the engraves into that material. So what that does is it produces a lot of smoke and a lot of odor. So on the back of your Glowforge is this really long tube. Now you can connect this with an air filter, and this is the air filter that Glowforge sells. So you can connect this right into the air filter, and it pulls all that stinky, smelly fumes into the air filter. Some people, myself included, I like to vent it out the window. So what I've done, and if you're in a ventless space, like let's say you're working in a basement and you don't have a window to vent it out to, then you'll need to use a filter like this. But I have a window right here in my space, and I purchased one of these. This stuff at Amazon, and it's just a window filter. So I can take the other end of my Glowforge filter tube and put that on this filter, and then I can stick it out my window. It filters right out the window. I don't take out my screen. Some people like to take their screen out. Some people prefer not to. I don't find I need to. It hasn't left any marks or anything on my screen. No discoloration on my screen on my window. Let me get this plugged in here because I want to be able to show you guys how easy it is to send over designs, but safety first, right? I'm making this look much harder than it is, really. Sometimes on a nice day, if it's not too hot, like today it was a little hot here, but if it's not too hot, I will take my Glowforge outside and not even use the filter, just stick the Glowforge outside and cut on the outside, on the outside air. Give me 1 second. Let me clean off the little flat surface here. Usually it just slides right on. While I'm plugging this in, if anybody wants to pop in a question, now is a good time. Okay, so we're just going to put that right on there, and it cuts around that hole. So this is a dryer vent. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Now for real, it's on there. Okay, so see, it just connects right on there, and then adding this part to it, I just vent it out my window, which I'm going to go ahead and stick this in my window. Now, it doesn't have to close your window and seal this part out, but I prefer to, because then that way I know smoke's not coming back into my craft space. So let me just set this in my window. A little twisted up here from all those shenanigans. All right, I'm just going to take out my window here, and then I can go ahead and cut without worrying about fumes coming in or out of my space. All right, there we go. Okay, so now that's all set up, and now I can cut without fumes coming out of my space. Now, if you're not using proof grade materials, like let's say you've gone to your local hardware store, or you've ordered materials someplace else, or you're using some of the make market materials, you will get a warning in the software that says, hey, you're not using Glowforge materials. Be careful, it might catch on fire. So if you can, you want to have like a fire extinguisher handy, or just know that that's going to happen, know that that could potentially happen and keep your eye on it. I have not had that happen, but when I first got my Glowforge and I first got those warnings, I just was so nervous, and I thought like, oh my gosh, it's gonna explode on me, and what have I got myself into? But it's just a cautionary, hey, keep your eye on it, don't walk away. And you're fine, you're good to go. So before I make my cuts though, I've let my my Glowforge go a little bit cutting so that I can show you how to clean it. You do want to clean it because again, you've got all that smoke and everything, and you want to, like, that smoke can get in, it'll get in the fan and everything. So you need to keep your machine on the inside clean. So first I take these little lens wipes, and there is a lens on the camera lens is right here. So you can go ahead and clean that camera lens. So you just give that a nice little scrub there, see if any dirt comes off. And then there's a lens on the underside of the blade. You can clean that as well, but you'll notice that you have all your little software pieces in there. So this area, you want to make sure you don't get anything wet in there. The fan, there's a little fan that runs in the top here. You do want to clean that out. Probably about, depending on how much you're running your machine, but like once a week, you want to just give this a good clean out. You can use a Q-tip and alcohol and clean that out. And then once you're done with that, you can throw those away. And then I use my Lysol wipes to keep over here. You can use Lysol wipes, or you can use lint-free cloths that have spray it with alcohol, and you're going to want to clean the rails. So these parts here, these silver pieces, this is the rail. So you're just going to move that back and forth. You're going to clean this out. So what happens if you don't have your rail clean? If you don't keep up with cleaning your machine, what will happen is this shuttle won't move as smoothly as you need it to. And it can kind of get stuck in a spot. And I'll show you what happened because I was letting this kind of build up dirt, so I could kind of show you guys how much I clean off. As you can see, it's got like some smudgy dirt on there. Not too bad, because I always get nervous about going too long. But I'm just gonna go ahead and clean that up. If there's any debris, little pieces of wood that are in the machine, you want to go ahead and clean those out. So you keep your crumb trays, what it's called, you keep that clean. Your actual tray that we pulled out, this will get very dirty. And it's more like, it's almost like it's like the sap of the wood kind of comes off on it. So again, I just take my Lysol wipe and I just wipe it up. Now you can use, some people use like alcohol and a lint-free cloth. Some people will take it to the sink or the shower and use a scrub daddy and some soap and water and clean it off. It's doesn't matter how you do it. What's important, see how dirty that is? What's important is that you do it, and you're just going to keep it nice and clean. And I have these little magnets on here. Let me put those on the side here.
Kerstin, sorry to disturb you. We have one question. So Nicole here is asking if so she has a different engraver to our cutter called Offero, and she was wondering if it's kind of the same thing or is it similar?
I'm not familiar with that brand. If it's the two differences in the types of laser cutters that are out there is one is called a diode, and that's what this is. And then you have others that are carbon, and that uses a CO2 cartridge to run. Those types of cutters, the Glowforge does offer that style, like the pros are that type of laser cutter, and they're more powerful. The CO2 cartridge makes them more powerful and everything. So that's kind of the difference there between those two. I'm not that familiar with yours. If it's a diode type of style, then it would be the same type, and you're just limited in your material that it cuts. So your Glowforge won't cut clear acrylic and other types of materials, like clear materials. It doesn't really cut those types of materials. Okay, once you've cleaned out your crumb tray, your dispenser tray is cleaned out, you've cleaned up your laser, and your camera lens is all tidied up, you're ready to go. Now, the machine, when you get it, it does come with, and you can, I'll keep these out, so if we go to my overhead camera at some point in the class, I can show you how dirty those really are. Your machine comes with a piece of material to start cutting with. So I would recommend you do that practice cut when you first get your machine. I'm trying to think if we want to, I'm going to show you where that piece went. Here we go. So this cherry piece here, when I put this in, the camera's going to read my wood here, my material, and it will go into the software and say, okay, you're working with a cherry medium. So once you've selected your material, now, I'm just peeking. I want to see if I have a different one. Different piece. I don't think I do. Okay, sorry. I just was going to use one that I already cut into. So let me show you what the software looks like, because if that's something you're curious about, it's super easy to use. Let's go here. I'll share my screen. Okay. So I have pulled in this project. It's a little card that you can make. If you want to start a new project, you just open up a new canvas and you can start a new project. When you go to the Glowforge website, you'll see there are lots and lots of projects available. Now, there is a monthly fee to using the Glowforge, all the designs that are available. So you can pay for that monthly fee, but you can also upload designs. So if you've purchased designs from Etsy or Creative Fabrica, you can always import your own designs. And if you wanted to find something, let's say, I don't know, what do we have coming up? 4th of July. Let's see if we can find some fireworks or something like that we could do. Maybe some fun earrings that you can cut. Like let's say we wanted to cut something like this, and I actually am going to change up my wood for this. So these little pieces here that are coming up, let me go back to that. The pieces that I picked out, this is a little tray design that you can cut out and paint, and it's really adorable little piece. So let's look at that and go to retro tiered tray decor. Okay, I want to pull that up so you can see the information. So when you're looking for designs, you just can click on it and it will give you more information. So for example, why is that not working? I don't want to bring it into the Glowforge yet. I want to show you. Okay. Let's see another one. I think that's because I put that in there. So let's go over it. Let me show you this one here. If I want more information on the design, I can come in and I can see what elements are part of that design, how it might cut out and piece it together. It will also tell me about how long it will take and what material to use. So I have this light maple plywood, which is what it recommends we use. And so I can go into my Glowforge software, pull that in and start cutting it. So let's take a peek at this. We're going to close that one, and I'll close my tray here so it can identify the material that I have. So let me close up my tray, and you'll see it'll scan. The camera will scan it, and this is your bed that you're working on. So as you can see here, I've got all the different designs that are part of that tray. Now, obviously, they won't all cut on my 12 by 12 piece of material. So what I need to do is edit the items in a different way. So let's say, for example, I just wanted to do, I'm just going to do the flowers because I think I would love to do the Volkswagen Bug, but I think that might take a little bit of time. So I'm going to remove the parts of this project that I don't want. So all I do is just click on them. Usually you can scan and hold and go across, but I guess we're gonna have to do some clicking on these and just deleting these off of the canvas. Okay, so let's say I want to do this big flower here and this flower here. And yep, that'll fit right inside there. Okay, so let me just grab all these other pieces and I'm going to delete those off of the canvas. So I'll take my flower. Now I can resize these pardon me, I can resize these if I want to. I can just select both of the layers. And I'll come down here and I'll make sure they're aligned in the centers like that. So you have your little align tools and your measurement tools here. So if I want to change the size of it, I can do that right here and just change the size down here. And I'll just kind of, you can grab a corner and bring those in. Some designs is not a good idea to do that because it can change, it can alter the design itself. And then other designs, it doesn't really matter. You can do that. So I'm going to kind of nest these shapes in here on wood that I've already cut and just bring those really close together. Okay, so there's the two pieces of this design that I want to go ahead and cut out. Let me just get rid of the pieces over here. There we go. And I'm not, oh, that's, so this is the center. That'll be my little center of the flower there. And then it'll cut the outside and the inside of the flower. It automatically chooses light maple plywood. So I can know when I go to that proof grade cut, it will tell me how it's going to cut it. So it's going to cut it at a speed of 14, a power of 10, and it will cut that shape 2 times. So we'll do the same settings for the second layer, 14, 10, and 2. Now, sometimes if you want it to, if it cuts too deep, you can always push back on the power or increase the speed. So if you think of it like if you're trying to work with different types of woods, I like to look at the proof grade settings and then kind of tweak those a little bit from there. So I know sort of how it's going to go. If you're using material that is, once I get this cutting, we'll talk about using material that's not proof grade material, but it's going to prepare my print. I'm going to, I don't think I can stop sharing that. Let's see. Okay, I want to show you, you really don't see anything on the machine as it goes through. Now this, the proof grade material, something to think about, the proof grade material does have a masking on it. And the masking is, it's like a tape. It's like masking tape. So the masking on it protects from the wood from burning. The great thing about the proof grade material, of course, from Glowforge is it has that masking on there. If you buy material, like if you go to Home Depot and get material, it doesn't necessarily have that masking on there. And then you'd want to add the masking on the design if you want to. So now it's just calibrating, it's checking that I'm all set, and tell me I'm in the fast lane. So as soon as it's done calibrating, it will tell me to go ahead and start cutting. And once okay, so now the thing is moving again. This will tell me how long it will take to cut. So it's going to take 5 minutes and 55 seconds. So once I'm ready to start cutting, my Glowforge light starts flashing and I can go ahead and start cutting it. So I'll push that down and the laser will start moving and cutting. Yeah, you can actually, you have a really good view of it because you can see through here. So you can see the laser is cutting the wood. So that's automatically happening. With the Glowforge material, like I was saying, it has the masking on it. So this has a clear, not clear, it has like, it's light, their masking is lighter than masking tape, but if I'm using wood that is not proof grade wood, I have a big roll of, traditional teacher size masking tape that I can put over that material and protect it from any burning or anything like that. Sometimes you need to do it, sometimes you don't need to do it. It's sort of a trial and error type of thing, but that's how you protect your materials, is with the masking. And you can mask the whole piece, or you can just mask the part that you're cutting. I kind of got a little aggressive when I first started, and I was like masking the whole board, and I thought, oh, I gotta mask everything. Now, if you're using like the Make Market wood, it doesn't have the masking on it. So you might want to add the masking onto that piece if you wanted to. The different types of wood that your laser cutter will cut. I don't know how many different types of wood there are exactly, but it depends on if it's a hardwood or a light wood. So the hardwoods obviously would need more power, less speed. Your lighter weight materials would use less speed and less power. Or I'm sorry, more speed and less power. So it just depends on what type of wood you're using, but it basically, you can use like pine wood, you can use basswood, you can use, there's a plywood from Home Depot that I like to use, it's called Sandy. That's a great wood to cut with. I think my little pumpkins here were cut with the Sandy wood, and it's about 1/4 inch thick. So these are little designs that are 2 layers that you cut and glue together, and then you have a little base, and your design fits right in that base, and you can set it up on the shelf. I had like 3 or 4 of these up during Halloween, and it was really super cute. They were so cute, I left them up over Thanksgiving too. But I think this was the Sandy 1/4 inch wood from Home Depot that I used to make that. So one of the tools I use when I'm using off-brand material is the caliper. And this thing is fantastic. First of all, it's inches and millimeters, and it measures things, the width of your material. So if you're not using proof grade material, how do you know how to cut it and everything like that? Well, the most important thing is the width of your material. So that's where my caliper comes in handy. But I was working with these little cups, these tops the other day with the hole for the straw in the middle. And I was trying to figure out how big the hole was so that I could make my design go around the edge. So I took my caliper. On the other side, you can measure the inside of something by sticking the smaller side into the hole and then pushing it out. This is a digital caliper, so it takes, I don't really have to think too much about it, and it does the work for me. So, so this is probably one of my favorite tools with my laser cutter, as is my masking tape. So when this comes out, I can show you how we can paint it. You can, and then assemble it and put it together. So how many of you, I'd love to know if you guys want to like put it in the chat or something, in the Q&A, since our chat's not working. If you want to put it in the Q&A, how many of you already have your Glowforge Aura, and how many of you are thinking about it? So just let us know, like, I'm thinking about it or I have it. And then I'd love to know, like, where are your troubles? What do you need to troubleshoot? One of the projects I first made was these were big Settlers of Catan players. So for Christmas, I made everybody their own Settlers of Catan piece. So it holds the pieces of the game. And you can make this kind of thing for any type of game. I got the file off of Etsy, and I cut it out. It's 2 different woods, 2 different thicknesses of woods, and 2 different stains. So I stained, I did the cutting, so I guess that's a good thing to talk about, is staining your wood. The cherry wood from Glowforge is really beautiful. This was just, I don't even remember, I think this was like I was kind of playing around with off-brand wood to see how it would cut. So I don't even remember, I think I got this wood at Rockler, which is our local not hardware store, but wood store. Anyway, I was cutting it, and I finally got all 6 of our boards done. It took me hours and hours and hours, and it was a great learning experience. And I'll tell you why. Some of my boards came out like this. And it didn't cut through. You can see it's really thick. It didn't cut through. I didn't know why. Your wood can warp, or it can have moisture in it. So your wood that you get, like your proof grade wood, doesn't have the moisture in it, but wood that you might get from Home Depot or something like that might have a high moisture content. and that can interfere with the quality of your laser cut. So that's one thing to consider if you're running out with like you're getting cuts like I was getting. The other thing is the warping. If your wood needs to be laying flat in the machine, so the proof grade wood I never have a problem with. So I think they must do something to it that really, makes it almost warp proof. So that was another issue I was having when I was making these boards, was that it just wouldn't cut through, and I couldn't figure out why, because on one piece of wood it would cut it through and it was beautiful, chef's kiss, it worked, and I just was like, ooh, this can be so easy. And then the next board would end up like that one. So through my learning, I learned that there's two things you can do if you're working with warped wood. Let me grab them, they're kind of off-site here. One is magnets. These are, I don't even know what kind of magnets they're called, but they're really heavy magnets. They do break very easily. So I got them off of Amazon. You really need heavy magnets. Like your kitchen magnets will not work. You need heavy magnets, and they just, if you have like heavy magnets like this, and you put them on your wood, as long as your wood isn't bigger than 3/4 of an inch, it won't get in the way of your laser. So when you're working with like 1/4 inch wood or something like that, you can just grab your magnets and set them on there, and it holds it right in place. And that was a big game changer for me. And then you can also make your own little pegs that sit in the honeycomb tray, and this will also help your wood. So this was the little pegs, I don't know if you guys can see those, the little pegs were great around the edge of my wood, but it was really the center that I needed to push down and remove any warping. So that helped with that, using those. Okay, so it's all cut, it's done. You want to give it like, just let it go off, and it'll any extra fumes or anything like that will scoot right out of your machine, and then you can take out your pieces that you've cut. Now, sometimes if things haven't cut, and I can tell this one didn't cut, my little flower there, it didn't cut all the way through. So probably this little piece here, I should have put some little magnets down to get that to cut all the way through. But my big flower, this one cut all the way through. So why don't we put this back in? We'll give it another try. And I'll just do that flower this time. Okay, so, and let's grab some of my big magnets, my trusty magnets, and we can also put in some of these little corner pieces. So basically what these do is you put them in, now there's a file for this. So you just get your medium weight acrylic, and you just cut these out, and it will hold your board in place. This is also really good if you're doing a lot of cuts in one board, to have it hold it in place. I find that's very helpful. So I'm just going to stick these in around where I'm cutting, and then just for good measure, I'll put in some of my magnets here just to kind of hold that down a little bit more as we go. So I'm kind of glad that happens. You guys can see. Now, sometimes when that happens, it's just a little bit of, so I can usually use like an X-Acto knife and push it through and not worry about it. I don't really need anything over on this side, but we'll put them there. Okay, so let me close this up, and we'll go back to the software, and we'll get that reset up. Okay, so let me show you my screen again. Just share. There we go. All right, so now you can see it's re-scanned the bed, and I can just take my little flower here and move it around someplace where it will cut. Get this one out of the way. I don't need that one. Now I can just scoot that one off to the side rather than deleting it. And we're just going to put this little guy right here. Yep. Okay, we're good. I just want to make sure I won't hit the side here. So we'll just put that right there. and I'll print this one, and it'll do this, it'll run through that same process. So let me stop sharing so you can kind of see the machine, how it goes through that process. So it just, I'll tell you as it's going through what it's telling me it's doing. So the first thing it does is it scans it and then it calibrates it if it needs to. And basically what it's doing is looking at the focus on the material, how thick it is. So it does like an autofocus. And sometimes it may adjust based on the material of the wood. I notice it does that when I'm using non-proof grade material. It will double check that. Okay, so now it's saying it's calibrating, still verifying that alignment. Let me just take a second to do that.
See, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So in this case, could you like cut it over the existing flower so that it goes through it once more and then cuts the rest of the part that wasn't done in first place, or like is it necessary to do the new run?
Yes, it's as long as you don't move your material, you can cut back over it. If you've moved the material, you've moved your alignment, and it's really tricky to get it back in exactly the same spot. So if once you kind of moved it, it's not a good idea to go back and cut over it. So if I had just kind of tested it to see, oh, it's still in there, then I would be able to do that. But yeah, I didn't. Yeah, so that's a really good question. The edge of your item your wood might have a little bit of soot on it. So you can just grab your wipe and you can just run around the edge like this. Now, this had so you can see you can get a little dirt there, I mean a little soot, and that's okay. That's no big deal. If you get soot on the front of it, you can do the same thing too. A little Lysol wipe or some alcohol will take that right off for you. So now that this piece is cut out nicely, I can just take the masking off and I'll be left with my wood. Now, one other great thing about what I like about the proof grade wood is it sort of has like a shiny finish to it. So it's really pretty just on its own. It's got like a nice little sheen to it. So you don't even have to paint it. Sometimes I find like if I can rough it up a little bit with a little sandpaper, and that helps hold the paint in a little bit. But I can just use these. I use these Posca pens, or you can use just acrylic paint and paint right over it. So once our next one cuts out, hopefully, we will paint the center. Oh wait, I can do it right here. I've got my little centerpiece here. So I can just pop the masking off of that. And we can paint that one if we want. So just do that one. And then I can just grab my little painty pen here and paint the center of mine yellow. Again, it takes it really nicely. It takes the paint really pretty. If you have that, I should clean my edges off to make sure I didn't get any soot on there. I don't want the soot on my yellow. Let's hope I didn't. All right, thank you. So we'll just let the glowy. Now I do have a name for mine. Mine is Glowy. And I'll tell my family like, oh, I've got Glowy outside. She's working for me, working hard. So hopefully this is cutting through. Now I have also, you can do little designs like this. This is just a garden stake, and I scored and cut that. So I scored in the green beans. And then before I just removed the masking where the words were, and I painted those in, so I didn't have to be super careful with those. So that was just scored and painted. This one was scored and painted as well, except it's got 2 dimensions to it. So the word tomato was cut as well, and then I had scored where the letters go just to kind of make it easier for me to do that. And then this is one that I did the scoring on and cut the felt backing on it, so it just was left simple. This is a cherry keychain that I cut an offset around the name and then used veneer, which is a really thin wood, to cut out that top layer. Now, veneer, what's really cool about that we're talking about putting things together, the veneers is a piece like this. And on the back side, it has the 3M adhesive on it. So sometimes if I'm doing a lot of little pieces that I want to glue on, but I don't want to really get messy with the glue, or if it's a lot of little pieces, I'll just use my own 3M roll of adhesive and put that on the back of the wood before cutting it. So instead of masking it, I'll just put that on the wood. Okay, let's hope this cut through. And you're right, before I take the wood out, I'm gonna take my little pick, because that was a really great question. And we're gonna see if it cut through. Shazam. There we go. So that's our daisy. And then I can paint that and we can glue that right on there. I may move the Glowforge. So I'm going to pause on that for a minute, and we may move this so I can show you how to do that, do some painting. Now, let me get this material out. So those are the little pegs, and there is a file in Glowforge to cut those out. I use my strong magnets to hold my material together. So I love my strong magnets. Sometimes they're too strong for their own good. Makes it a little hard to get them out. But that's a good thing. Okay, so should I look at using some material that is not proof grade material so you all can see that. So if I were using, like, let's say I wanted to cut some Make Market material. I have one right here. This is a little piece. I've already cut something out, which I'll show you. Hopefully I'll have time to do that last assembly. But this is just the Make Market 1/16 inch balsa wood. And this will cut pretty quickly. But I want to show you sort of the difference between when you're cutting, scoring, and engraving, because I think that is something that a lot of us have questions about. I see a lot of questions about that just in general. I'm going to put these really strong magnets in there again. I have little tiny ones too, little baby ones. We'll put all those in there like that. Okay, now I'll close my top. So let's share the software again. So it's scanning through. And actually, I'm going to go to this file here. So this is a file I've already set up, and I've been kind of playing around with the settings on this. Oh, am I not sharing my screen? I'm sorry. Let me try that again. Oh, wrong thing. There we go. Okay, so here's a file I've been playing around with the different various settings on it and everything to cut it through. So it's an unknown material. So I can either use my caliper to get exactly the depth of that material, and I say use uncertified material, and I would put in a measurement 0.07, and then I put that on. Now, what I like to do is use the set focus feature. So from here, you're going to go ahead and say set focus, and it's going to focus on that portion of the material. This way, the machine focuses on where that material is, and it knows the depth of the material from your crumb tray. So it will do it'll automatically set the depth of that material. Up here, I have the balloons, which are from the Library of Artwork. So you have a lot of different artwork here that you can use. So I just selected the balloons from there, and those are set to score. So, oh, you know what I want to do? I want to no, I'm not going to do that. Sorry, those are set to score. And then I have the name Adam, and that is set to engrave. Now you can kind of look at those two designs and see the difference. Score basically draws the outline of your design. So a score line will just do the outside of your line. An engrave will fill in that design. So if I were to take this engrave, 100 to 1, I got to remember that. And if I were to switch from engrave to score, it would just do the outline of that name. But I want it to, and then I would go for like a thicker, let's go for a better looking there. So it'd do it like that. But I want to engrave it, so I want it all to be filled in. So I select engrave, and I'm using the Make Market 1/16 inch balsa wood, and it will do that engraving for me. Then the hole for the tag I have set to cut, and these are my custom settings. So when you're using non-proof grade material, you can set up your own settings, and so you know what material you're using. So I'm using the 1/16 inch Make Market balsa wood, and I actually want that to be at, oh dear, now I think I want it to be at 50 speed. I would like it to be at 10 power, and I'm going to have it do 2 passes. So basically the first pass will cut it, and then the second pass will also cut it. It just goes a little bit deeper when you do that. So that's how I have that set up. So our balloons are going to do the scoring, Adam is going to engrave, and then the outline will cut it out. So we'll go ahead and let that go. So it's going to do the scanning. Let me stop share again here. And it'll do the scanning and everything as it's going through. And then when it's ready to cut, my little light will flash for me and say, okay, we're ready. Let's do this. Okay. So am I flashing? Not yet. Let's check and see what it's telling me it's doing. Right now it is calibrating. Now I will tell you sometimes, because it is Wi-Fi, if you drop your Wi-Fi or something like that, you may have a little trickiness getting it to connect and communicate. I did have a file the other day that I could not for the life of me get it to cut right. In fact, I was working on this project here, the lids again. I made a cardboard template, and it has, I don't know if you can see it, but I have like the crosshairs. So when I take a design, and I put it in there and I want it to go right in the center of my design, I put this in my template here, and then I put that in the machine, and I know exactly how to line up my design. So I can make little designs like this. So these were scored, and one is darker than the other, same settings, but it was just a different design. So the difference of the design can determine how big and deep your score lines are. But once these are done, you can put these in the washing machine, a dishwasher and everything like that, and run them right through, and they look fantastic. If I wanted to, I could paint them in and put like a Mod Podge or something like that to seal it and make it a permanent cut. That cut, a permanent color. All right, so this is looking really good. Now, what I did for these, because this was an unknown material for me, I made a variety of different templates with it, with the same design, and cut it out in different ways. So I would have, like, I think this was my first one, and the wood, the name really burned in there. I didn't clean it off because I wanted to show you. So like I dialed back on the power. So I kept the speed the same, but I dialed back on the power. When you engrave, there's also a setting that allows you to say how many lines you want. I don't know if it's per inch or exactly what it is, but you can say like, I want 260 or 160. So you can, like, the more lines you have, the deeper and thicker that engraving could be. So this one also, like it came through on the back on my scoring. So I dialed back on the power and the speed. Now, why did I dial back on the speed? Because the slower it is on your wood, the more time it has to burn in one spot. So if you kind of speed it up, it has less time to burn in one spot. So on the scoring, I sped it up so it would go around a little faster than just like, staying in that one spot and really and really burning that up. So I kind of dialed it back until on the back, I got it where I wanted it to be. So when you're using non-proof grade materials, do give yourself, like I'm just going to caution you, give yourself the grace of needing to do it a couple times until you get the exact right setting. You can always do like a little circle test in the corner of your material to make sure it worked out and everything, how you wanted it to be. So I do recommend that. All right, coming, here we go. It's gonna let it get out the window. And we'll open this up. So again, I'm gonna move my magnets. And you really want to be careful if you're using the magnets. I've had a couple different styles, but they click together really hard and they break. So just be aware of that, especially if you have kids around. Kids should not be around this, but if you have kids around that might pick up your magnets and start playing with them, these I try not to allow. And my kids are all old. I say kids, but they're all like in their 20s. So, but they still come in my space and touch my stuff, as kids do. Now this I did not mask. I just put it right in the machine. And there it goes there. So it did, and I'm gonna move this. I think we're kind of done. I think we've gotten the vibe on how to cut with it. So let me just slide it back here. Okay, and then I'll go to my overhead. I will do that one. We're gonna have to step over. I don't think it's gonna fit there. The good thing about your Glowforge is you can really put it almost anywhere to work with it. I have had it on the floor. I've had it out, in my garage. It's gone by the pool, on the pool deck. You can really bring it anywhere and have fun with it. So don't feel like, you're limited to one space or another. All right, give me 1 second here. I'm going to turn on my overhead camera. I had it turned off, so let's see if we can get that one going. There it is. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Rashmi. You are so on it. Okay, so hopefully this will give you some better ideas about what we're doing here. Let's see if I can get some better lighting up here. Give it a try. Okay. How's that? Is that good? Oh, not that better. Okay, so from here, let's see. These are the little atom tags I had and a variety of different methods I used. So you can see this was the first one and that it really burned onto the top of it and then it got better and better as I went down. This is the last one we did here, and this looks probably the best out of all of them. It does look like it's missing a little bit here, but I think that's actually the font is narrow on that end of it. So we're going to move these over here for just a second. This is, I do want to show you, look how dirty that got. Ugh. That is the used one. Let me just show you what a clean Lysol wipe looks like so you can really see why you need to clean out your crumb tray. So this is my clean one and this is my dirty ones. So you really want to clean that out as often as possible. So sometimes some people will clean it out at the beginning, some people will clean it out at the end. It really just depends. Now, once you've cut something out, you can again grab your pens and color it in. If I had masking on this, the masking, I could just take off a little piece of the masking, paint in where that color goes, and then peel off another piece of the masking and paint that. That way you don't have to worry so much about coloring in the lines. But we're going to color in the lines here a little bit. So see how easy that is? Like that. And I could paint the whole thing or just keep painting the different parts, pieces and parts of it. I do want to show you a close-up of this was done with engraving, different designs, so they did a little bit different. This one has gone through the washing machine too. But even after it was done, I noticed that they were a little bit different. And this is the jig I made so that when I put it into the machine, I put it in and I put that flush with the top. I say how deep it is. I think this is like 1/2 inch. And then I use these lines that I cut out of the jig to line up my design. So my design was centered on the piece. So if you're trying to get something perfectly centered, I definitely recommend a jig. And like I said, my jig was out of cardboard. So you can just put the cardboard in and create your jig. Now, let's grab our little daisy here. And I have a cream paint. See, I got my little white paint, my yellow center. So we're just going to peel off the masking. And you can, the masking comes off really easily. So I'm just going to kind of pull that right off. And I just need to do it on both sides. This is the back side, and you can kind of see a little bit more of the burn marks. Again, why you want to have a clean tray, so that you can kind of reduce those burn marks, but that's going to happen. Don't worry, because look, as I peel off the masking, that's another reason why you want that masking there, is it kind of protects the back of your wood. And then let me just grab my white here. I'm going to go around this just so I don't get it on my fingers too. Kind of feel like, should this be like a light blue color? Feeling a light blue on my daisy instead of just a white, because the wood is such a natural color and it's light. So let's grab like a light blue here. These are paint pens, and you can use really any paint pen that you want. This is more of a gray color, but I'm just going to run that over it. These are nice too because you can blend with them a little bit while they're wet. So you can blend colors together if you want to. Again, if you wanted to, you could sand this down and it helps take the paint a little bit better. All right, and if there are questions, in this last couple minutes, I'm going to paint this and then I'm going to glue it together. And I have another one that I've already cut out to kind of glue together and give you more ideas with the wood. But if you have questions, please do drop them in. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking, what you're, again, maybe what your struggles might be, how I can help you answer those questions. Your Glowforge does cut such a big variety of materials. We just focused on the wood in this workshop, but we've done other workshops using all kinds of materials like foam. You can get the different colored foam in the Michaels. It's in like the kids section. But that is really fun to cut and make things with the foam. You can do acrylic. Glowforge has proof grade acrylic, but there's a lot of different acrylics that are perfect for your diode laser. You just want to make sure that it is compatible with the diode laser because, again, not all materials can be cut in here. So just because you can cut acrylic, you can't cut clear acrylic, and I think white acrylic is kind of tricky to cut with the diode laser. But you can cut like pinks and oranges and blacks and stuff like that. And you do want to be adventurous with your materials that you're trying to cut, and try different things, check out the different aisles and what might be available around the Michael stores. Laser, I love going into the wood section and picking up things to do some laser designs on it, some engraving on. Okay, so let's let that dry for just a second. And I'm going to bring this project over. So this is a project I was hoping I would have time to cut it out for you all and pick it out, but it's a 5x6 size card. So what's really cool about it is I did pop out one. Sorry, I got excited. But what's cool, little teeny tiny pieces that are holding it together in the card. So you can paint it while it's in the card and then pop these out. Now I did this out of the balsa wood, so it's really flimsy, and I want to make sure that I may tear the balsa wood, but that's okay as long as I don't tear my little piece here. I always think of balsa wood. I don't know if anybody else grew up in the 70s and 80s and you think of those little balsa wood airplanes that you got at birthday parties and such. Always fun. Okay, so I went ahead and pre-painted a few of these pieces just to get started here. In case we're running low on time. Now you can use E6000 glue is a great glue to glue your parts together. I have this Ultra Bond glue, which I really like to glue my parts together. So I'm going to just start gluing these down. Now, I know you can see up here, it's got like the little design of how it all goes together. So let's get this started. My glue is going to come out for me. Seems like it's a little stuck in there. Let's see if this one has any. Okay, here we go. So I've got a little one. So this is the back piece. So I'm going to save that piece for last, but I'll go ahead and put it on this piece here so we can pop that out. They have all in the Glowforge catalog, they're all different kinds of cards. So these were really popular during the holidays to have for kids. So if you wanted to, you could make these and then, have them at Thanksgiving table and the kids could paint and then pop theirs out and glue it together. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of glue there. Now this glue will dry clear and you can see where this one had this was just the scoring and cutting. So those lines there are the score lines. And then I'm just gonna put that right there. Grab our other little backing piece here. I hadn't decided. I thought the natural wood look looks so good in terms of looking like sand. So I think I'm going to leave that a la natural. Put that down there. So if you haven't taken the plunge yet, but you've been like looking at the laser machines, I would really encourage you to take the plunge. It's so much fun. And when you get, there is a learning curve. So you just have to be patient with yourself, with the software and with the cutter itself. But as you get more comfortable with it and you just kind of start thinking, oh my gosh, I could make earrings. Like these are a pair of earrings I made out of the cherry wood. Those are beautiful. The keychains and things like that, but you can make, it's really up to you how much you want to use your machine and how much you want to make with it. I just find it to be absolutely so much fun to create. And I use it. I was working on a sublimation project the other day that had a little pouch and I needed an insert to make it bigger. And I was like, I bet I can cut a cardboard insert on my Glowforge. And I did. And so from there, I could just, I used that as the insert on my pouch. And it was great. I thought, oh, how easy is that? Okay. Put that little guy there. And then my last piece are these sunglasses. So again, let me grab, what's green? I'll grab a little blue. So to get my paint pen started, I just find a little spot, push down on it. I'm a paint pen girl from long ago. Okay. So again, because it's still in the piece, I don't have to worry too much about staying in the lines on the outside of it. It'll be really good on the inside around the glasses lens. So you can be like, just paint around that. So you can I can tell the difference. You may not be able to tell, but this is, again, the balsa wood. So it doesn't have the proof grade. It's not got that shiny finish to it. So the balsa wood just soaks up the paint, whereas the proof grade material sort of, the paint kind of sits on top of it just a little bit. Okay, and then let's do the little glasses piece. I could come back in with that gray color and color in the inside of that, which might be cute. Make it look like you're looking at the sky. Or if you had a metallic, you could make it look metallic, would be fun. A little piece in there. So for something like this, I do like to use just the regular glue and not put the 3M on the back of it. That might be a little more than you need. There's the sunglasses. We'll put that right on here. And then you could add like a little magnet to the back of these and make it a magnet design. But again, I really love the idea. If you have little kids at Thanksgiving, to have little, anytime you need to have a child sit and work on something, I just thought this was such a cute project and it would work really well for any child, to keep them entertained and busy, and you wouldn't have to worry if it was perfect or not. They could just really have fun with it. And this is a little in the tiered tray section. It's what we've got going on here. I could not put the centerpiece in, but I kind of like the little yellow center. I think we had a daisy. I was looking at the participant's name. I think we had a daisy in the class. So there we go. How fun. Now I didn't finish doing this, but a little ribbon on there with some beads, you know, you're good to go. Really, so many fun things that you can create with your Glowforge. Let me show you these again, the cut pieces. These were, I did the engraving here. It was 2 different thicknesses of wood. They're both different and different stains on these 2 files. So that's how those were done. Yeah, so that, I think that's everything we have. If there are, just want to do a run through. Like I mentioned, I had some pre-planned answers if we had any questions. So let me see. We talked about masking. You could also use blue painter's tape to do your masking. If you didn't have like the big roll of masking tape, you can just grab your blue painter's tape like this and do that. You can adjust your speed and power, like I mentioned, if it's going too far on the back, like that one, I just pulled back on how long that scoring line lingered in each place by increasing the speed. So that reduced that push through on the back. You can't tell on the front, but I just wanted it to look perfect on the back of that card. So that's like understanding your settings. When you want less pressure, you increase your speed. When you want more pressure, you decrease your speed so it stays over each line just a little bit longer. So that's how you do that. And we talked about the difference with engraving, cutting, and scoring. What to do if your wood is warping. If you are getting the burn marks like I did here, you can reduce your speed and your pressure and also reduce the line. So I'm just going to grab my wipe here, and the burn marks are really not that bad, but I can just use that and see how it kind of brushes those off a little bit, and it cleans it right up for me. So if you ever, are worried you've got a little burn mark on something, you can use a Lysol wipe, a little alcohol. If it's a little tiny area like that, you might just use some alcohol and a Q-tip, and that will take care of those burn marks. But you may need to reduce your laser power, increase your speed, or make it multiple passes with less pressure and less speed. So if I did this with less, but did 2 passes, that may give me a deeper engrave than just doing it less. The 2 passes might give it a better engrave. Lastly, as far as adding images to your project and things, you may get images from different places like Etsy, or like I mentioned, Creative Fabrica. That's a great place where you can get images that are already ready to go for your laser. They come in as SVGs. One thing I noticed, people will bring in a file that is a PNG format and say, hey, it doesn't cut. That's because if you use like any other kind of craft hobby cutter, the format is an SVG format. So that tells it like works like a plotter, and it tells your laser exactly where it needs to go. So a PNG file is great to bring in if you want to do engraving, but you can't cut. You have to have an SVG file to cut. So that's probably one big aha moment you might have, is like, well, why is it cutting? It's a PNG file. It's just intended to engrave. So I think that's everything. You guys have asked so many good questions as we've gone through. I'm excited to see what you make and what you create. And I really hope you have fun with your Glowforge. You can always reach out to me on social media platforms. I'm Kesley.365. Feel free to ask me questions. You can DM me and say, hey, I was in your Michael's class. I have a question for you. I'd love to answer your questions. And we do have a really fun workshop coming up on earrings, which is going to be a great class. So I hope you guys have a chance to play with your Glowforge and maybe come with some questions next time too. And then also just don't hesitate to get going with it and play with it. I do recommend starting off with your Glowforge proof grade materials, and then growing out and trying out other things. Thanks so much, Rashmi. I hope everyone has a great weekend.
Thank you. Bye.